这个是的，是的吗？可以喊吗？可以喊吗？可以喊吗？全部都是假的。
哎呀，这感觉上到底好啊！哎呀，兄弟姐妹们，啥情况啊？这是啊，啥情况啊？又熔断又淬断，亚洲、欧洲、美国都来了，华尔街啊，还有这所谓的这些贵族们、大佬们、盗国贼们，欺压我们老百姓，欺压了几十年了，骗那么多钱啊！这个助纣为虐，培养了共产党的这个吸血姬。现在该到这帮王八蛋啊买单的时候了，你看这多漂亮！你看看，你看看，你看看，你看看，哎，这视频随便用，你们别问我能不能用，随便用啊！咱高兴了，咱干嘛不用啊？你看看这，今天早上吃早饭没直播，给路德先生让时间，我要直播吃饭，把你们馋死，太好吃了，太好吃了！今天有好吃的，后悔了没直播啊！这还都没开始呢，兄弟姐妹们啊，这才哪到哪呀？啊，得折腾几回呢，几个起伏啊，把共产党身上的几根啊，本来就是一个鸡啊，一个落汤鸡，长了几根毛，当自己是凤凰了，共产党还想统治全世界，把毛给你摘了啊，让你看看你自己，再给你搁个镜子摆你前面，让你照照共产党啊，照完以后你再看看你还欺压老百姓，杀香港同胞啊，欺骗全世界。后面的鞭炮看到没有？听到鞭炮声了吗？高兴不？我今晚上放烟火，今天晚上在船上大放烟火。
And then the other economy at risk is Hong Kong, the most levered developed
Okay,
economy
now we're in the
world.
area I wanted to ask you about. So China, we've had you on many times talking about the trade war. What does this throw into the entire mix? Do you believe the numbers that you're hearing from China? Did they handle this and cap it? Should they be reopening the factories and theme parks and everything else at this point? Do you believe the numbers?
Yeah, what you learn about the Chinese Communist Party is they don't care about their people as much as they care about maintaining power. And I think they know that if their economy stays too low for too long, that it's a crisis for leadership from a power perspective. So they're telling people to go back to work entirely too early. And no one believes any of the numbers coming out of China. And it's interesting, right? The first thing the Chinese government did was they arrested the 7 doctors in Wuhan that found this virus in the first place late last year. They not only arrested them, they forced them to issue an apology, and then they, quote, punished them. God only knows what they did to them when they punished them. And somehow the WHO is lauding China for doing the right thing and taking charge of this virus when all China did was do a major cover-up for God knows how long. So I don't believe any of the numbers out of China, but what's most important is China's banking system is 3.5 times its GDP. You know, Hong Kong's banking system is almost 900% of GDP, and their economy is off. So you've got what we're going to see is something worse than the 1998 Asian crisis. Over in Southeast Asia, and I think the epicenter will be China and Hong Kong.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I wanted to say.
There's been some debate about this exponential growth. I've seen a couple of guys on TV and a couple of guys on the news site saying, you know, the Joe Normans of the world and a lot of these scientists, the Dr. Lungs, the Imperial College, when they talk about these growth rates, that they really can't back up the exponential growth. So when you say exponential growth, from what set of mathematics can you specifically point to show exponential growth?
So, I mean, it's essentially what's called a branching process. So if there, you know, you hear about the reproduction value, the R naught, that's on average how many people does a single infected person infect. If that's anywhere above 1, then you have something that compounds in time. And so that compounding can, let's say you had a doubling, right? So the RO is 2. That means every time, every cycle of this sickness, double the number of people are getting sick. That can look slow in the beginning and then explode in a few weeks. And for instance, right now we have about a doubling every 7 days globally. In the U.S., that would mean that we'll get to the entire population in about 4 months. So it's just the simple mathematics of it. And of course, in every outbreak, there's a saturation. So in nature, you have S-curves. You can't, for instance, infect more than the population of Earth. But the point is, we want to, via policy and via behavior, flatten out to that saturation well before we reach the whole population. So we need to take action to be able to do that.
So, Joe, I want to go back. If you had the president's ear this afternoon in the Oval and he said, hey, here's the 2 or 3 things I think you really need to do to get ahead of this. Now that the whole fear of the stock market, I think there was some fear or whatever, some concern that, hey, if any action was taken, it was going to affect the stock market. That's out the window. The financial markets are now responding to the lack of direct, hard action. If you were there, could tell him 2 or 3 actions, what would they be?
Yes. Cancel all large public gatherings nationwide. No parades.
Large being defined as what?
Let's say over 1,000. It's probably prudent to do much less, 500 or so, or even less is prudent. But in terms of realistic policy, definitely 1,000 or more. It makes no sense. The statistics you start to guarantee that a sick person will be present, and then you're guaranteeing the spread of that via that sick person. So say 1,000 or more, cancel them all. There's no reason to be doing them right now. In where we have known outbreaks, like in Seattle, we should be doing basically lockdowns like in Italy. People should stop moving, freeze in place. If we need to pay people to stay home, we should do that. Even healthy people or people that seem like they're healthy, if we can reduce their mobility, every person is a potential vector of the virus. So the more you can just freeze people in place, freeze people at home, then the quicker this thing will, the R0 will go down below 1. And then you get exponential decay, which happens also rapidly. So those are 2 major things. As far as testing goes, I think that we've seen the decentralization of testing authority, which is very good. Obviously, we need better reporting on that so we can get a global sense or a macroscopic sense of what's happening. But the ability to test locally is very important. And things like mobile testing and drive-through testing, where you don't get potentially sick people all gathering together with potentially healthy people, is also really crucial.
我这2天确实是感觉到有点慌了，今天跑到天台上来透气。我每个月的房贷呢是7600多，车贷是6600多，然后店里面的房租一个月是差不多2万块钱，还有员工的工资。虽然说上个月没上班，但是我还是准备给大家发一点基本的生活保障嘛。然后还有我的商业保险也到期了，1年是1万多，还有10几万的信用卡，然后还有各种贷款。我的天呐，一想想真的还是蛮恐怖的。这2天确实是感觉到有点压力了，估计跟我一样的老板们很多吧，加油吧，同志们，加油！
我从年前回来湖北黄石到现在一直都没有上班，然后现在我工作的地方已经把我给解雇掉了，我现在连工作都没有了，所以你知道这种压力就无形中会压垮很多人。就我还有房贷要还，就正常的老百姓大部分都是跟我一样的情况，还房贷、还车贷，然后各种贷款，我确实就熬不过去了，就差不多2月底的时候，我那边就跟我讲已经在复工了，就说我是湖北籍的，然后就直接叫我说不用来上班了。我找工作完全找不到呀，我在网上找，别人可能一听说你是湖北的，别人不要你啊。外省的人对湖北人是特别排斥的，你懂吧？就是知道你是湖北人，基本上就是你湖北的就不要回来上班了。
这个店是我花了4个月的时间，自己一砖一瓦布置成现在这样的，我费了很多的心血，因为一个疫情。我们损失惨重，19年经济效益不好，过年又亏了一大笔，我结清了所有的人员工资，所有的供货商的钱，现在 无力支撑，我交不起下个季度的房租，所以呢，只能说再见。
武汉加油，中国加油！习主席好，习主席好，习主席好，习主席好，习主席好！
武汉加油，中国加油！
学生他是住在507的，然后他这边刚好就是西侧这几间房间全部压的墙壁都已经粉碎了。美瑞的妈妈，她的电话还是能通的，但是还是没有人接。
他是我亲哥，他们一家5口。我住514，他住507，7点多左右吧。我在看电视吧，我以为是地震了，就拔腿就往外跑，还没出门。 那门倒了，把我打晕了，9点多我醒了，就被救出来了。现在到2天了，联系不上，没消息。
什么人来？
has expanded its response to the coronavirus by locking down the entire country. Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte says that as of this morning, travel restrictions will apply to the whole of Italy.
We start with the COVID-19 outbreak in South Korea and a concerning development for people in Seoul. The mayor of Seoul said Tuesday afternoon that a cluster transmission of the virus at a call center in the capital has resulted in 64 newly confirmed cases. That number will increase, he said, because not all the tests are out yet. This is in Seoul's Gurogu district, and it's the biggest infection in a single place in the city so far. The first case from the call center was confirmed on Sunday in a 56-year-old woman. The health authorities have called on all 207 people who work at the call center to self-quarantine. The entire building's also been temporarily closed.
Crude oil prices nosedived, the biggest single-day drop since 1991. Shares in oil companies fell with them. Brent crude, the international benchmark, fell nearly 30% at one point, dipping to $32 U.S. a barrel. The plummet was so steep, trading circuit breakers were tripped this morning to pause the system and calm the panic.
It's now almost certain Australia is heading for recession.
It started with panic buying, but has now turned to a kind of panic selling not seen in 12 years.
I don't think that the bottom is going to be today.
Qantas now has 2,000 staff it describes as surplus to requirements after cutting nearly a quarter of its international fleet.
It will mean that we are grounding now 10 of the 12 A380s. In fact, we're grounding around 38 aircraft in total.